Speaking to me in this episode is Maira Wong, who is the Senior Director of Global Business Development at Sambazon. Now, Sambazon, founded in 2000, is an acronym for Sustainable Management of the Brazilian Amazon, and it was the first company to introduce certified Açaí to the world, supplying organic and fair trade certified Açaí products such as smoothie packs, ready to eat Açaí bowls, juice, energy drinks, and Açaí bites from a proprietary supply chain, and pioneering transparency from the palm of the tree to the palm of your hand. Now, Myra tells me more about being associated with this firm, about using her business development skills to sell a superfood that is so wonderful and has so many uses. She shares recipes, she shares tips, tricks, and a lot more about why this superfood is so important and what can it do for a person's well-being. Go check out the episode. Until the next one, stay tuned. This is Karishma, and I will be back hopefully soon. Done. Thank you so much, Myra, for joining me on this episode of Karishma Connect. It's a pleasure to host you. I can't wait to know more about what you do, how you do it, what makes it special to be where you are today, because that's a wonderful journey that you've owned. Thank you once again. The first question I ask on this podcast, Myra, is tell me about that journey so far.
Thank you, Karishma. It's really a pleasure to be here too. I have to say this is my very first podcast. Yeah, so don't mind me if I get a little bit nervous. But when you talk about what you do and when you love what you do, it really becomes more natural, right? So this journey has been very interesting because here I am, originally from Brazil, living in a foreign country in the US, in California, working with a product that is originally from Brazil, from the Amazon, from my beloved rainforest, and sharing this product and its health benefits and really its magic with over 40 countries around the world. So it's a very unique journey that I have to say, I guess I was at the right place at the right time, but maybe I also manifested a little bit of that, by believing that, when you do what you love what you do. So something like that. So, with the hope also to inspire other women out there, other listeners that they can also manifest their dreams and find the job, the career that they love. It's nothing's more precious than time. So do what you can to love what you do, find something that you love and believe in it, and yeah, enjoy the ride.
Yeah, yeah. And how did you start off in the field?
So it was very interesting. It's actually going 10 years now, and I went to school for journalism, and I never really worked as a journalist, but I had this passion for curiosity and meeting people, talking to people. And I ended up meeting Sambazon CEO, Ryan Black, at an event, friends together, and just talking to him and really embarking on this journey at a very, mellow event. He was like, started to interview me and asked me for my resume. And I was like, wow, is this how things happen in the US? But yeah, that's how it started 10 years ago. Wow. And beautiful how it all evolved too. At the time, Sambazon wasn't really selling internationally. So I spoke about acai being this amazing product from Brazil, and really it's been consumed mainly in Brazil for decades. And Sambazon was really the first company to export acai out of Brazil. And this was 25 years ago. So when I started 10 years ago, it was only starting to boom as a superfood, as a healthy breakfast option.
What was interesting and what continues to be interesting about that business, right? Of course, I've seen it evolve from the perspective that back in the day, not many people were even aware about these ingredients. Not many people really spoke about superfoods as such. But then it's evolved with time. Talk me through that journey that you've noticed from the industry itself, and then maybe a little bit about Sambazon's evolution as a brand as well.
Yeah, sure, Karishma. So I think it's interesting, we live in a globalized world today where, superfoods from Brazil or Peru are more accessible, right? In regions like the Middle East, for example, you have all these amazing superfoods from the world being imported by plane, by ocean. It's just more accessible, and with social media, you have authorities, nutritionists that can speak about these superfoods and promote these superfoods um, more widely than before, right? Before you had to see it on TV, and now you see it on your phone. No, it's very accessible, and to that said, it's becoming a global trend, right, to consume these superfoods. But also, I believe these are trends that are here to stay because, a superfood like acai is organic, is gluten free, is dairy free. It has no refined sugars, non GMO. So you have all these attributes, all these benefits, anti allergens. More people are allergic to ingredients nowadays than ever. So you have all these trends, and one superfood that not only is so good for you, but it's also good for the planet. You're supporting the Amazon, and you're also eating something that's delicious, and it's Instagrammable, it's beautiful. So you have all these combinations that support this trend so it doesn't go away. Consumers are being more selective with what they consumed, with the reading the labels, right? They want to know how ingredients are sourced. So I believe it's a trend that hopefully it doesn't go away. We want people to eat better.
And are there any particular health benefits of acai that you can share with me?
Yeah, of course. So, why it's considered a superfood, right? It has 20 times more antioxidants than a blueberry. So, antioxidants are the anthocyanins that you get from grapes, blueberries, all the purple foods. And what do they do? They work as antioxidants, so they slow down the oxidation process in our bodies, in our cells, that happen every day. Like when you eat a banana and you leave half of the banana for later, you go eat that banana, it's oxidized, it's like brown and mushy. That same process happens to our bodies every day. So when you eat a diet rich in antioxidants, you're slowing down that process. Acai also has a lot of good fats. So when I say fats, right? Oh my God, for what kind of fats? No, the good omega fats, omega 3, 6, and 9, which are the good fats that you find in salmon and avocado and olive oil. And those omegas, they feed your brain. They help with brain functionality. It's very popular nowadays to go on the keto diet where you consume these healthy fats so that your body goes into the ketosis. So, acai is a keto friendly food because it's one of the few fruits in the world that has zero fructose, no sugar at all.
And is there a recipe that you can share that you particularly uh, have cracked or discovered that kind of shares how one can integrate acai into their daily?
Oh, of course, Charisma. That's what I do, right? So I invite everyone to check out our website where you can find literally hundreds of recipes for our smoothies, our bowls. Sambazon.com. We even have an Arabic website, sambazon.co.ae. You can see the Arabic versions of the same recipes. But my very favorite that I consume every day is a 100-gram sachet of the pure acai pulp. So that's the sugar-free one. And I blend it with a little bit of vegan protein powder to get that protein boost. I put a little bit of blueberries to top off my anthocyanins, and I sweeten with a date. So very local ingredient from Dubai, easy to find. Yeah, just make sure you use the non the without the seeds, right? The pitted dates, so that the pit doesn't go in your smoothie. And you blend all that together with coconut milk or almond milk. I always use a plant-based milk. So a little bit of berries, the acai, vegan protein powder with flavor, without flavor. Peanut butter one is usually my go-to, and a plant-based milk. Add very little liquid. A lot of people tend to put too much liquid if you're making a bowl. You want that creamy consistency, so you add the liquid last. Um, and if you're making a smoothie, you can use a little more liquid, double the liquid that you would on your for your bowl.
What is different about Sabazon?
Sure. So, one thing that I didn't know when I joined this industry 10 years ago was that not all acai is the same, right? Because the way it's promoted, oh, it's a healthy food, oh, it's good for you, oh, it has all these benefits. But I was seeing people consuming acai with condensed milk, with sugary powders and, chocolate sauce and Nutella. And I'm like, well, how is that a superfood, right? And maybe it's better than the frozen yogurt, which is basically water and sugar and milk, right? You still get the benefits from acai, but topping with all these processed sugars, like you're really turning that healthy food into a caloric bomb, right? So I started seeing how to consume it better. So again, creating recipes at home where I use natural sweeteners, because I mentioned to you, acai is naturally very bitter. The pure pulp with sugar is very earthy, very bitter. So you need to sweeten some way, right? So I started testing agave or honey or dates, natural sweeteners, and creating the base that would appeal to me the most and that I could consume every day and not feel guilty about it. So I started reading the labels. Also, as soon as I see a new brand in the market, I check the labels. Did they use artificial coloring? Did they use fillers and thickeners? Because again, being Brazilian and visiting the industry many times, it's unfortunate to say, but people sometimes they value profit over quality, and they try to find ways to cut corners and increase their profit and lower the quality. So there's ingredients that you may not even be able to pronounce in some of these acai brands out there. And you know, when you're a importer in Dubai and you're not really going to the factory or paying attention to the ingredients, it's not really your fault. But as a consumer, it is your responsibility if you want to feed your family with the best, to read the labels, to support brands that support local farmers, to really do your part, right? To vote with your dollars, because you really can support companies that make a difference out there. If all of us do, it can be a different industry. So yeah, so that's one thing that you know people should learn, that not all acai is organic, is fair trade, is full of clean ingredients. It's important to pay attention, read the labels, check the sources, and yeah, really vote with your dollars.
I'm curious to ask you, have you worked with the local sort of community that is associated in actually the production aspect of it?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's I've been to the Amazon a few times, and even as a Brazilian, it's a very different world out there. It makes you really proud to work with a company and consume a product that can make such a big difference, in these families.
Why I ask you that question, I'll tell you, because I was speaking to two of my guests recently, and they work with the local farm communities in India, trying to empower them and get them to do what they do better. And I asked them this question. I said, "What is that one sort of insight that you can share from their lifestyle that we city dwellers can sort of learn from and adapt to?" And almost both of them said that they are so accepting of their routines and they have such great discipline, and that is inspiring. That is something that is a contrast to the city life. That's the reason I ask you that question. Is there something similar that you've noticed?
I think that one thing I learned, Charisma, and by going there, is that the forest provides everything for these families, and us, living our busy lives in the city, accumulating things that we don't need, and just buying things with the swipe of a finger, in less than a minute, and those things arrive at our doorsteps and just stay there, right? We end up not even using, and these people, they get their source of income from the land. It's the acai that grows on the trees. They get the food from the river, the fish, the shrimp. They get the paint that they paint their houses from, the seeds of the forest. Like literally, is there Amazon.com? Like literally, everything comes from the forest. You know, we often get asked and faced with the challenge of like, oh, there's child labor, in the acai industry, and obviously we're very, very against it, and check the families that work with us. That's part of our fair trade program, but at the same time, you see, families that live in the forest, and climbing the trees is sometimes their way of, their meditation, when they're up there and it's silent, and the kids start to learn that from their, young age. So it's understanding how these families work culturally, and I'm sure you have the same issues in with farmers in India. It's, but you don't tell your neighbor, oh, your 16-year-old son is mowing your lawn. Oh, that's child labor, right? It's like he's helping the dad. So it's there's a thin line between, child labor and culturally helping the family, and even for us as an industry to understand and support these families with these issues.
Tell me about the importance of fair trade, and then I'll come into your professional experience. But what is it that makes it so important, and why do you think, especially entrepreneurs of tomorrow, need to, do their best to pursue it?
It's important, especially to protect us as companies and as consumers against these issues that I was talking about, child labor, because when you have a third party certifier that goes to the field and check these families. That's what it is to have a fair trade badge on your product. Anyone can say, "Oh, acai is natural." What does it mean to be natural? Oh, it grows in the forest. So wait, wouldn't that be organic? There's no pesticides. So really, to have a badge is to have a third party certifier, someone outside of your company that goes, checks if you're compliant with the requirements of this organic or fair trade certification. And fair trade is basically meaning that you're a company who's supporting the local farmers, who's supporting the growers with fair wages, eliminating middlemen who often, pay them very small amounts and take the bigger cuts. So it's working directly with those growers, providing for them social assistance. And, Sambazon has built 5 schools in the rainforest for these communities where we buy fruit from. We have distributed water filter systems. So every year, there's a program that is elected by the community that we support with, and this third party certifier goes there and checks to make sure that it's going through and the community is happy with the project. So as a consumer, it means that you, all the way in Dubai, you're contributing to spreading positivity among these families all the way in the Amazon.
Yeah. Yeah. And for somebody who is into the business development side of such a business, how do you think it has empowered you? What are the challenges? Because it's also not easy to pitch these kind of products to a mass audience. What have you figured out about that journey?
Yeah, as I mentioned in the beginning, passion for curiosity, right? That's something that I always had from my school days in journalism, that becomes a skill in business development, because, it's not beneficial for me to just sell a container to whichever importer in India, like, no, I want to go build a relationship with this importer. I want to go see the Indian market before we start selling. I want to see what competition is there, what the benchmark price would be, what's the size of the opportunity, to really build a case, build a business plan with this importer and go together, build the market, spread the awareness, because one thing I found out is that acai is like a lifestyle product. People fall in love with it because, they fall in love with the flavors that are so unique and exotic, the way to prepare. Everyone has their own recipe, right? Like, you can ask me for many recipes, but I have my own that I shared. So it becomes a staple in people's lives, and to have that curiosity and that passion, it's really what made our business thrive, and my career thrive in these last 10 years, and really the business continues to grow. Acai is more and more mainstream. It's, we tripled the size of our business in Japan. In the Middle East, we're on the same track, growing in Saudi Arabia, not just the UAE. So it's really beautiful to be sharing a product with people that is part of my culture, and that it's good for their diets, and it's good for the planet. So it's very inspiring.
Tell me what's next for Amazon. What are you most looking forward to?
Ah, let's see. We shot a documentary that, yeah, it's hopefully coming out soon. Yeah, and it's sharing a little bit about our journey with Sambazon, and talking about, there's other companies, there's several episodes, and it's highlighting companies that use capitalism for the good of the community. So stakeholder capitalism. So there's a really cool company in India. There's Sambazon, and there's another cool company in Lebanon. So that's going to be a really cool next project to come out. And yeah, we're always, in the look for the next country. Hopefully India, that's one I have my eyes on. So yeah, we'll see.
Well, more power to you. Thank you so much for joining me again. And load of firsts on this show, and that remains really special to me. So thank you again for yet another one. Looking forward to all your progress in the years to come.
Thank you so much, Charisma. It was a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.